All right.
And welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Bros. This is Big Baby Ben.
Troy Black, baby.
Judas Black. Let's get it tonight. Tonight we have three very special guests. We got AMB from HAW. We have Kenny Nine. And we had the Macho Nacho Last Week in Wrestling podcast, Dylan Musso. So let's get it tonight. How's it going tonight, guys?
Doing good.
All right.
I'm doing all right.
All right. So Dylan, you want to start us off here, man?
Well, I mean, this is new for me. I haven't really interviewed any wrestlers on the podcast that I do over on Last Week. So this is very new. So bear with me as I try to remember everyone's name and figure out everybody, what they do and stuff like that. But it's an absolute honor to meet the both of you guys. Now, I know you were saying AMB off air that, you're a little bit more new to this business. So I kind of want to ask you, like, in your progress in starting in the 9 months that you have, what has it really been like behind the scenes for you in order to get prepared for a lot of the matches that you've had? And then, of course, going to that championship title that you now hold.
Yeah. Very early on in the beginning, especially the first match, lots of anxieties and lots of adrenaline and emotion and stuff. And then over the first probably 4 or 5 months, just kind of getting the reps in, and getting comfortable in front of a crowd and actually kind of understanding what the business is about. I had the pleasure of sharing the ring with a guy, Nasty Nick Nolan, and we had a feud and got to tell a story at a promotion we were at. And it was amazing, to go out there and learn from him in my infancy of my career, just starting out, to learn from him and just realize what wrestling is. We told a story, and we invoked emotion from the crowd, and it made people invest into me, and it kind of propelled me in a way to open up some more avenues and opportunities for me to travel. And it's been a crazy journey. So just kind of being 9 months in right now, it's been a whirlwind of experience, but right now it's kind of led me to getting the opportunity to share the ring with some bigger opponents and really showcase what I can do and what I need to work on, and it led me to wrestling Conan Lycan in HAW for the championship. And there was a lot of people, that tried to step up to him and dethrone him as the champion. And he had a 200+ day title reign. And for me to be the one to go out there and again tell a story as an underdog and evoke a reaction from the audience again, and cement myself in the wrestling business, it's been a pleasure, man. So I'm beyond grateful for everything. I do a lot of stuff with Galley Lucha Libre out here in Chicago, and that's been the best learning curve I've ever experienced so far in my journey, just because it's the language barrier and a different style, and they go at a different pace. So you get to learn very quickly being in those environments, and very grateful to Galley Lucha Libre and the promoter there, Carlos, for just always, allowing me to come and help out. I helped set up rings for a year before I even got to go out there and, perform for them. And it's paid off. We just had Galley Mania, and I was honored to be asked to be a part of the show. And to only be 9 months in, to be able to just kind of look back on the things I've done so far, it's been awesome, And I sit here now as the Honor Among Champion, and it's very surreal. So it's very surreal.
That's really cool.
How long have you two kind of physically known each other, Kenny and AMB?
I want to say a few months.
Yeah.
We met at HAW. I saw a bit of his work online before I actually met him in person.
Okay.
And I'm a bit more longer in the tooth. I'm 4 years in, and my outside bookings outside of my home company, it really didn't pick up until the tail end of last year until now. And I I just want to take every opportunity I can, and when I'm not wrestling, I'm either working on artwork or I'm throwing my hat or offering my hands or services in other ways.
That's cool. I got a question for you, Kenny. Since you said that you kind of have the longevity of more experience in the indie scene, now where you've come from the beginning to where you are now, do you feel that you've come more into this leadership role for a lot of the newer gen wrestlers that are coming into this indie scene as kind of like that forefather in that aspect itself?
I don't call myself a leader. I just like to say that I like to give the advice that I was given because my teachers have more than 10 years of experience. And I've also take people that they even shared the ring and been on the road with or had plenty of time with. And the advice I was given, I try to give to people who are newer.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't call myself a leader because I'm still learning and I don't try to put my foot in my mouth in any way, shape, or form.
Good. I like that. I like that answer.
So we have a fan question to AMB and Kenny Nine. What are your guys' favorite moves?
Oh, I'll let A and B answer that one first.
So one of my favorite moves to do, personally, I just learned how to do a 450. I try not to do it too often. I try to like use it in moments that kind of mean something. But besides that, really, I'm a big fan of the enziguri. You know, you can't go wrong with the enziguri, and there's multiple ways you can hit it, and you can hit it on anyone, and it can be very effective at any point in a match. So I'm a big fan of the enziguri. So
Okay, that's fair enough.
And me personally, I'm a big fan of the diving elbow drop. I mean, I grew up watching guys like Randy Savage, Shawn Michaels do it for the longest. And I even started adding it to my repertoire because everyone around me does a frog splash.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Okay, so would you guys agree that your styles are probably a little similar in the ring?
I would
I
say,
would.
I don't know. You answer that first, Kenny. You answer that first.
I try to adapt to whoever I'm in the ring with. I mean, part of it was I try to learn how to do certain moves and do things that make sense in the context of a match. Like, part of my finish now requires me doing a rolling Death Valley driver, but I'm not going to be able to do that to everybody, not within the logic of a match.
Yeah.
So I adapt. I pick moves that make sense and depending on who I'm wrestling.
So, Kenny, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10",
You're 5'10", and how much do you weigh?
185.
185.
Okay.
And A and B, you're how tall?
I'm 5'10",
5'10", and how much do you weigh?
150.
150. This would be an interesting match.
What is our chances of seeing something in the future, you two?
Man, if the cards fall, I definitely want to go and see this. This would be interesting. Very interesting.
You know, you can anything's possible. You know, like I said, and I would like to have it in HAW. You know, I would like to do it in a place where we have the audience that's gonna respond to what our ability showcase. But to kind of go back and answer that question about our styles, I kind of would say, in a way, we are a little more similar. I would just say I'm a lot more quicker paced. And that
There's
could
the first shot.
uh,
I don't take it
but that
personal.
could come down to a lot of things, you know. I have a lot of endurance, you know, and I take pride in that, and I like to you know, of course I you know, lead by example in certain ways, in certain aspects, but he's the vet, you know, he has the experience on me, and but I'm not gonna discredit anyone, and I don't do that with any of my opponents. But I never shy away from an opportunity or someone who's looking for an opportunity to step up to, you know, the champion at the moment. So I take every match with you know, a grain of salt until it actually happens. So you can never say never.
Oh yeah, the vet versus the champ. I like the sound of that one.
I don't call myself a vet. I mean, that's just a general rule of thumb. I'm less than 10 years in the business.
Oh, don't be shy on us, Kenny.
No, I'm not shy. It's just the rule of
No,
thumb. I don't call myself a vet. I have 4 years experience, and I just have enough humility not to call myself a vet.
That's awesome.
You know, and I've said it on the podcast last time, you know, Kenny's a good guy, you know. The moment we met at the HAW show last time, you know, when he was there, we kind of kicked it off. You know, we had some good conversations, and he just seemed like a cool guy to just sit down and talk to. So, you know, I'm not, you know, I commend you for that, you know, for even saying that. I really do. It shows a lot about your character just as a person, you know. You know, in this business, there's a lot of gimmicks and characteristics that are turned up a notch, but you know, that's him, and I sense that trait from him just from the few conversations we had. So I commend you for that, for even saying that. But you have the leverage on me as far as experience in the ring, and that's something that I wouldn't doubt you in any way of. I wouldn't take you lightly as an opponent. But again, never say never, you know. It can happen anywhere.
I mean, I'm up for it at any time.
Of course, you know. I'm not shying away from any challenges or any matches or any opponents. So I look at them as learning experiences, and I need the reps more than ever right now. So
sorry, this light is making it very hard to see. I'm gonna shut this thing off. All right, Big Baby, you have a question? Big Baby?
Yeah. So with the title around your waist now, AMB, do you feel the X on your back?
Yeah, in a way, you know. This is my first world championship of my career. So it's a different type of pressure, and I'm gonna find out firsthand on October 28th, you know. So false count anywhere match, and I'm not gonna take it lightly. I've never been through that experience before. I've never had that match, so I'm gonna experience a lot, and I think that's gonna be my first wake up call as a champion. You know, whatever the outcome is, whether I win or lose, I'm gonna learn something from it and take that away and get better. So eventually, that if I walk away with the victory, I'm better for the next opponent, and I can continue to build the lineage that Conan built. You know, like he was a dominant champion, 200 plus days. He took on some of the very best, you know, and I just want to have that type of history with this championship and take on whoever. So if Kenny Nine's next in line, you know, so be it. I'm gonna try my best to just uphold the respect of Honor Among Wrestling and showcase how good of a company and how good of a talent of everybody in that locker room is, you know. So
I mean, I'll be in the audience.
There you go.
Wrestling Dog AMB did an awesome job at the HAW wrestling event.
Thank you. Thank you.
Macho?
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of questions for the both of you, but I feel like I probably will take up majority of the time here, so I'm very silent. But I'll start with Kenny because I feel like he might have a very different answer compared to AMB. Now, when you're going up against somebody, opponent-wise, how is your style in the sense of studying your opponent before a match? Is it more of the actual watching it physically, or is it more of the tapes, or a combination of both before heading into an actual match?
For me, it's a combination of both. You see, I consider myself to be a cruiserweight, and usually a lot of the matches that I've been in earlier in my career, I was always the smallest guy in the ring.
Mhm.
So I used to watch a lot of matches where, well, I'm not small, but the person across from me usually makes me smaller than I actually am. So what I do is I watch guys like that were considered heavyweight, but weren't necessarily the biggest guys. Guys like Benoit, like Brian, like even Eddie. And then I basically take what I can from there and apply it to the match.
Okay. AMB?
Could you ask the question again?
Yeah. So when approaching a match against a certain opponent, is it more of a watching the wrestler in the ring to learn him before facing that opponent, or more of a videotape in the sense of studying before going into a match against somebody? How do you prepare more or less for them besides the mental game of it? Because I feel like it's very different. I don't know if you guys would agree with that in the
Yeah.
sense of the physical attributes and the studying compared to the mental game that you have to play within yourself before heading into the ring.
I would kind of say a mix of both for myself. I like to watch a lot of their film and just kind of like see where they've been,
Mhm.
and just kind of like what they've accomplished, just to see, like who I'm sharing the ring with as an individual and so as far as moves though, I think it's a little bit more easier for me to kind of study up a little bit ahead of time, especially if I get notified in a good amount of time. I like to watch their stuff and kind of watch the moves and figure out how we could tell a story or entertain the people in any way possible. And then it kind of gets a little bit easier for me, especially leading up to the show and the event that day. So I can kind of choose what I can do to defend myself in case I get caught up in a situation that I can't get the win out of. So it helps me sharpen up a lot mentally. And I just watch wrestling all the time, like even if I'm not watching anything, it's just constantly on my TV. So
Mhm.
I'm just kind of always picking things out, and I think that's the cool thing is when I get the chance to do something like that, to prepare like that for a match.
Mhm.
I always find things that I can learn from it, so, and it's definitely helped me get a lot better over the last like 5 months. So
Okay.
I think it's a huge benefit as well. So
Okay. Somebody else want to go? Do you want me to go again? What do you want me to do?
So Kenny, you said that you suffered an Adam's apple, excuse me, injury from matches this previous weekend.
Yeah, Saturday during my match against Atlas J. Horn, double fist. I was supposed to take a double fist, Hadoken style. Got caught, top fist caught me directly in the throat.
Oh,
Ooh,
Nice.
ooh.
Don't worry, I'm fine. I still wrestled the next day.
How did that match turn out?
I like doing matches like that. It was a squash, but I still kept going. I trucked through it, and I lost my voice, and I was still fine.
So we had a few questions from the fans. One of them was, do you have any? It's actually for both of you guys. Do you have any rituals before you do every match?
Before I step through the curtain as my music hits, before my music hits, I'm actually praying, like squat down in prayer,
Okay, okay.
and I
I
often and
I,
I
I
often tell
usually
you
sorry.
good, you good.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but I usually like I deal with bad anxiety sometimes, and especially right before going out in the curtain. So it's very hard. I try to laugh as much as possible. I don't know if you've experienced that, Kenny, but I try to
Oh, I
just
definitely
have
do.
as much fun and be as relaxed as possible. I'm so new to this that like I don't know. I don't really have like a ritual, like so it's so nerve-wracking sometimes that like it's just good when someone cracks a joke and you can have a nice laugh. Like that's the best thing for myself.
Do you guys have
Uh,
any like specific thoughts or anything like that when you guys are like, your music hits, you guys walk out there to, walking down to the ring? Do you guys have any specific thoughts? Like what's going through your guys' head?
well, for me, first thing, if I know what type of match I'm supposed to be having, I often try to give my wife fair warning because she worries about me every time I'm out there. And but as my music hits, because I come out to Kanye West, I'm as Chicago as they come. Grew up on the north side, and downtown Chicago was a block away from me. So I just in my head, I'm like, I represent my city.
There you go.
Okay.
Big Baby, you got a question?
Yeah, it's kind of leaning more towards WWE news, if you guys don't mind.
Of course.
Logan Paul calls out Rey Mysterio after his boxing match for United States Championship opportunity.
I did see that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't get a chance to see the whole like fight though. I kind of wanted to watch the fight. But yeah, I like Logan Paul. He's kind of grown on me over his run, and the things that he's been able to do. I would like to see Logan as the champion. I don't know if that's kind of bad of me to say, but I would dig it, and I think it would be a fun match, and I think it'd be a good way for him, Logan to learn as well from a guy like Rey Mysterio, how to grow as a performer. But I think it would be very entertaining.
Well, for me personally, I actually would welcome it. I mean, outside of celebrities holding the 24/7 title, or even going back a bit further, back in the 90s, a few different people held the hardcore title, but Logan Paul actually holding a secondary title like the US title, I think that brings more eyes to the product. But his boxing match, that turned into more of a clown show than anything else. First of all, it was thrown out because of a disqualification. And even the press conference, the man got opened up by getting hit in the face with a water bottle.
Oh, see, I didn't see none of that. That's crazy.
Nah, that was more chaos than an actual boxing match. I was like, man, I honestly had no idea if I was watching a boxing match or just complete lunacy at one point.
Both.
Jeez.
I gotta say this, and I know I said it on the live, but I gotta repeat myself again because I don't know if he's heard it yet. Logan Paul, I wish you luck against Rey Mysterio. You're an amazing athlete. You can move around. I'm not really a fan of the guy. He's just me. But you are in for a hell of a fight against one of the best luchadors to ever lace up his boots in Rey Mysterio. If you win, you definitely earned it because he's not going to give up that title easy. It's going to be a hell of a fight. So that's my thought on it.
I think that's right.
It'll be entertaining though. It'll be very,
Yeah,
very
no
entertaining. So
Let's go for the next one.
Macho?
I have nothing to say to it. I think that speaks volumes already as is. Yeah, we'll be here all night. I'll put it to you that way if I start speaking about it. So no, I got no comment. I think that's the best comment. No comment. We'll see what happens Friday. So But yeah, do you guys want to continue reading the
Yeah,
chat?
you go ahead.
What do
Yeah,
you-
you got any questions there for him?
Yeah, I got a bunch actually. So we'll start with Kenny on this one. When it comes to titles, as we were just talking about with the United States title, do you feel that the titles hold a certain weight in actual prospects that deserve the opportunities? In the sense of, if you have a heavyweight, a middleweight, a lightweight, and then a cruiserweight division belt for single superstars, men or women, in that opportunity for either one of them to go ahead and try to obtain that, does that belt significant weight going into further competition forward?
I'm a firm believer of, if you're holding the title, the company that you represent, the type of matches that you have holding that title, that's what makes it worthwhile. Now, unlike AMB here, I've never held a title. But
Okay.
I'm also the type of guy that, honestly, I can actually care more about having one of the best matches of the night than actually holding a title or having a lengthy reign.
Okay. Alrighty.
I mean, take a look at Jake Roberts. The man went through his entire WWE career without holding a title.
True. And he had a great career without
Exactly.
without a title. Do you feel the same way, AMB, or do you feel like they hold more of a prestigious thing when it comes to other opportunities after you relinquish one belt?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it opens up more doors, and it, like, just the prestigiousness of the championships alone. You know,
Mhm.
It don't matter if we're on the independent scene or if we're in a major company on a contract. Like, what we're doing is history, and it's something that no one can take away from us. And I agree with Kenya as well. In the aspect of, what you do while you are the champion says more about how long you've held it. And that's, as I'm still, obviously we're all still learning in this, but as I've been learning in this, I will say this, like, it is nice to be a champion. It's a token of respect from the company and from the promoters, and also from the fans, especially, that they appreciate your effort, and whatever the case your efforts are. I think being able to give an experience for the fans to connect with, that means more than how long you've held it, or what comes really after that, because like he said, Jake Roberts, he never had the strap, but he's had an amazing career, and he's a legend in our business. So you don't necessarily need to have one. There's guys that don't even need one. They're so over, they don't have to have one, and that says more about those talents, how good they are. So when it's all said and done, I'm not really kind of focused on like how many championships I'm gaining over my career or anything like that. I'm literally like embracing this whole journey, for whatever it is, how long it lasts, and wherever it takes me. So
Okay.
One of the questions from the fans was, when you have your belt on the line, do you know if yep, there it is. When you have your belt on the line, do you know if you're walking out, or is it completely planned out?
I like to say this: wrestling's real, people are fake. So we don't know.
Good. That's a good answer.
No idea.
Really good answer. Kind of deflates my next question that I had then, because I had a very interesting question.
Anything can happen. You have all it's just like anything in life, you have all these things planned out, but as we all know, things don't always go as planned. So you can have things planned out, but it doesn't really do you any good, because it's going to cause you to lead to insanity. Because if you strive for that more than what this business is about, and that's creating an emotion, and you know, getting that adrenaline and emotion and experience for the fans and for yourself, and to tell a story. If you get blindsided from doing that and just focus on everything else, you know, it can really take away things. I've had a couple matches where people have gotten seriously injured, you know. I had a show at Skydive where, in my match especially, he broke his leg. He snapped his leg, you know. Things happen. And, you know, the show, unfortunately, and things like that, you know, especially in the entertainment industry, things go on. The show goes on, and you know, we don't know anything. You don't know what's gonna happen. They had to send another person out there, and I was just out there really wrestling, you know. So you don't know what's gonna happen. So I always like to just make it super short and simple and just say wrestling's real and people are fake, you know.
I feel it. I feel it.
What would you guys say your favorite style of wrestling is?
I love watching the technicians.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so. Technicians as well.
Okay. And what's the reason behind picking technicians? I mean, if you want to kind of explain.
The level of dedication and attention to detail it takes to be a technician.
Yeah.
It can also be nerve-wracking, but it's also worthwhile, and it earns a lot of respect off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, it's a style that I want to say most people could learn, but you have to be willing to put the time in.
Okay.
And when you watch a match like at Wrestle Dream between Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr., these are guys that put decades of time, who countless hours of film, in order to put on a technical masterclass that was that match.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. It kind of goes back to what we talked about a little bit earlier about the whole study and film and everything. Like, there's a different kind of way of just like dedication and a different like thing that you tap into when you're so meticulous and focused on those things. And I think it really shows sometimes when people are going out there doing some of this amazing stuff, and it's like things that you think, oh man, I've never seen that before, but really it's been done. You know, they just took the time to go and, you know, seek these things out. And I think that's a good benefit of trying to understand technical wrestling, you know, and trying to learn that style, is everything's so meticulous, you know, and you have to be patient and you have to take the time. And that's with anything with this wrestling business, kind of like you have to be patient, you know, timing is everything. And I could not agree more. Like, I'm a huge fan of that match that at Wrestle Dream, you know, like that was a master class showcase of what technical pro wrestling is, you know, and two of the best to do it, you know, right there. So Zack Sabre and Bryan Danielson. So two of the best to go out there and show that style, and they did it. So, and it's very detailed, you know. There's a lot of things that they're doing them so quickly you don't even realize until you're going back and pausing it and watching it in slow mo, that you realize how they're getting out of the things that they're in. So technical wrestling is one of the most beautiful arts of wrestling. So
okay. You macho?
Okay, so we kind of talked about it, but we kind of answered it and it deflated the question, but I want to still ask it anyway to see what you guys have to say. How much better would it be for certain matches that you already know the outcome to if it was left up to either one of you in the ring?
Well, me personally, whenever I wrestle for LLT in particular, I don't know who's going over, going in. Some of the time, I don't know who I'm even wrestling. But one thing I do know for certain is I care more about the journey in getting to the finish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm over like crazy at Lucha Libre Total Chicago. And it's already there from my entrance. Once 2 words by Kanye West hits, the kids go crazy. I take off my glasses and give it to a kid in the audience. And I often greet the fans before I even step in the ring. And if I'm the big baby face going up against a heel, the crowd's already behind me before I even do anything. And what it leads to is me, like my first match this year with LLT, everything was improvised. The whole match.
Okay.
And we just followed the flow of the match, and it went smooth. And we got to the finish because literally 2 minutes before showtime, we got the finish.
Okay. AMB?
I think it would be interesting, you know. I think you would get a lot of new different ways of closing stories and different creative ideas out of it. But I've only really had one experience where I've been kind of told how something's gonna play out in a way. So, you know, I most of the time it's just I swear it's kind of determined off of a coin flip, it seems like. I don't know.
Right.
Like you know, and I don't really try to dive deep into that whole area and stuff. I show up to the shows and get prepared and figure out who I'm working with. And I just really, like Kenny said, just focus on the whole journey throughout of a match, you know. And I try to just learn all the time because I'm so new in this. I think it's just the way I'm operating and the way my mind is, you know. I'm still getting the chance to like meet new people and kind of establish myself in some of these places. So I kind of focus not too much on the whole wrestling match and show aspect of everything. I try to just genuinely have a good time, you know, and just enjoy everything. And you know, I think it's been making everything a lot easier for me and making me relax as far as when I do get to the point where I'm about to prepare for a match. Like I just kind of take away I try to take away something every match, something new that I learned, you know. And Lucha Libre has been kind of teaching me that. So, and especially with that style, everything's so crazy and fast paced that, you know, I have to keep up with everybody there. So I'm just so focused on just like getting through the match and just like, oh, don't mess up type of thing. So
okay. I got one more question, and then I'll kind of let everybody else talk because I know I take a lot of the time. You guys have both mentioned storytelling. You know, Kenny, you stress it when you say that's one of the most key components for you going out there, handing the glasses to a young person and really shaking and being very intimate with your fans and everything. And like you said, those two words, once it hits for Kanye's music, they know, okay, my guy now is entering the ring. And you almost as well say the same thing in that aspect as well, AMB, when it is in the more or less of the actual in-ring work, that's your storytelling in the sense of how you want to tell the stories of your matches with your opponents. So the question is then, does the storytelling for you behind the scenes matter just as much, and how much actual control do you have in that storytelling element? Now, I know a lot of us know for WWE and AEW, a lot of the bigger promotions, there's a lot of writers and stuff like that do a lot of that. Maybe the wrestlers have some say in certain aspects of it, but majority of it is written out and kind of just delivered by the superstars themselves. So for you guys in an independent scene, is there more of you're also as hands-on behind the curtain when it comes to your character development than just inside the ring telling that story for us fans?
Personally, it depends on who we work for.
Okay.
Like when a promoter asks us for a promo, the first thing I ask, who am I working? What's the story? Or am I just shooting straight from the hip based on who I'm working? And in my home company, the storyline's already developed, and I'm supposed to take what I'm given from that storyline, give a promo, and send it to my trainer just to further along the story, whether it's pre-match or leading up to the match or even post-match.
Mm-hmm.
But with outside companies, if they tell me they need a promo, I am a lot more hands-on because I may not know who I'm going against, and I have free creative license.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm so new, you know, and so new to this in my first year that I'm just hungry, you know. I'm just
Right.
trying to get the reps. Like I'm pulling up anywhere I can, basically, anywhere that my car can get me to without it breaking down, or if I can hitch a ride with some family members or whoever. Like I'm trying to do everything that I possibly can just to get the reps. So, I mean, I've took beatings, you know, for months before I've even had anything kind of like tossed my way, which, you know, and I think it's a good mentality to have, and it's kind of normal for people to have in the beginning, you know. Oh, they're just hungry and looking for an opportunity and a place to showcase themselves. But I think that's the best mentality to have the mentality where I'm so focused on this stuff right now. I'm just going into these shows, whatever they're giving me, I'm trying to take something new, like I said, and just learn something new from it, you know. And the first time I had like a real light bulb moment was when I got to tell that story with Nasty Nick Nolan, you know, like the story we told, I took a bunch of damage, you know, to my leg, and we told this whole story where I was, you know, I was getting banged up, and like by the time I hit, just fired away with just a single punch, you know, that place erupted. So it was like, oh, okay, this is less is more in a way. So I just take what I get, you know. Like I said earlier, like I've only had one experience where I've been told, like, hey, this is how this is exactly going to go, or like this is what we're needing to happen, and this is the story. But I've had the luxury of being able to go up to a promoter and be like, hey, what do you think of maybe, you know, maybe doing something like this, or even adding someone to my match, you know. I just kind of spitballed an idea and it happened to stick to the wall, you know, and closed mouths don't get fed, you know. So it's like if you can't really be too shy and intimidated by the wrestling business when you come in, especially when you're new, you know, because you hear all these things like people are so giving and willing to help the new people and the younger guys and the girls, you know, and like everyone's so friendly and giving. And you know, you hear all these bad things sometimes about how people can big league others or do these things, but I've never experienced that. So it's just been a good experience for me, and I've just tried to have that mentality, take something new from it, whether I'm on the show or I'm not, you know. So just trying to get those reps is all I'm after. So
Cool. I like it. I like the both answers.
So I was going to ask you guys. So I know you guys you've wrestled for multiple promotions, like all over the area and stuff. What would you say would be probably your favorite promotion that you've wrestled for, and why?
They're watching, so just be aware of that.
so my number one is really a tie, you know. Like I love Honor Among Wrestling because they're so story driven, you know, and that's what I love about wrestling. And that's amazing. I love that about them. But I also love Galley Lucha Libre because, like, even though when I first started, like, even as a kid, I loved the lucha style and the high flyers and stuff. But I always loved the story aspect of it, you know, and that's what always kept me into it. But I'm so grateful for them, and it's such a tie between the two for number one because they've given me so many chances and opportunities to do everything. So they're both at a tie. I will have to say that, like, they're literally tied. And Galley's just kind of given me the experience that I needed that I'm not really going to get elsewhere at this level that I'm at. And like, I'm beyond grateful for that. So, and it's very cool to share, you know, to be on the shows with guys who are the very best of Lucha Libre. You know, like we just had Ray Horace and Aramis and Vikingo, you know, and many others that are big stars in Mexico. So to actually like get that experience, you know, it's such a tie between the two, you know.
Yeah, I definitely like AMB. I definitely got to tie with my home company, True Privilege Wrestling, because without True Privilege Wrestling, there would be no Kenny Nine. And learning from the tree of Just Amazing and KO Kendra, I take whatever they taught me and I apply it everywhere I go. And Lucha Libre Total, I love my fans over there. There's literally a kid that sits in the front row of every show, and I can hear him as I'm wrestling every time, and I'm like, oh my God, this kid.
Kick his ass, Kenny. Kick his ass.
Yep, that's literally how it goes. And like, I'll tell you, the reception at LLT, like, they hated me when I was first there. And the rule of thumb is if they don't know you, they will call you a puto or puta right the first match, whether you're a referee or a wrestler.
Yeah, that's they love doing that in the lucha culture, you know.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Love it. They love it.
But the more they see you and the more they see what you can do, they begin to love you.
Mm-hmm.
Big Baby Troy Black.
You said what now?
You guys got some questions?
Yes. So, like you had previously said, Kenny, you know, in your previous match, you know, you had taken that little, you know, minor injury to the throat. When you're in a match and something goes kind of sideways like that, unexpected, what are your thoughts and how do you feel in that moment?
Well, my first thoughts are, I'm like, okay, this definitely hurts, but I can still go. Or if I'm out of it, I'll try to do the best of my ability to let my opponent know what's going on. But in this case, I can't. It was a squash, so I can still go, but I wasn't able to talk.
Okay.
And I still sold for him. I still kept the story of the match going. And I gave my wife a heart attack again.
Damn.
But the first thing I do after every match is let my wife know I am okay.
Okay.
Because her anxiety goes through the roof whenever I wrestle.
I could see that. I mean, it's you know, high risk moves. You know, exactly what they are, high risk moves. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes I do too good of a job at selling. Like in this squash match, I legit sold like I was out of it and like I was dying, and even the promoter bought it for a bit. So whatever is needed of me for selling, I'm willing to do.
Good.
Cool.
AMB, how would you handle that type of situation?
So I'm like back to that story, you know, where the dude got hurt in my match and they had to send another guy out, you know, like that was something I had never experienced before. You know, you've seen it throughout watching wrestling and stuff, and like, oh man, I wonder what I would do in that. But like, you never are prepared for anything like that. So, you know, I just looked down and realized his leg was twisted up, and the shit, you know, it was in my hometown too as well. So the crowd was really hot and wanted to see me, you know, perform, and I didn't want to let, you know, the audience down. So, you know, I just grabbed a mic. And that's the beauty of what wrestling is, and that's what makes real moments. And that was something, you know, people were talking about for weeks. Just the things that I was saying and, you know, the energy that I had. So, They can be a blessing or a curse, really. But that's where you sink or swim. So, and it's a part of this business. You can't escape for it, but you're never prepared for it. You could try to be, but you can't. So just trying to be as responsible as you can as a performer to keep everybody safe is obviously the number one thing. But there's times just over the show on the Sunday, had a little bit of a timing issue, and I came down, and a guy who's about double of me came down and landed on my head. And I was a little scared for a second, but that's high risk reward, and I had to keep going. That's just the nature of me as an athlete and as a competitor. I used to play former sports and stuff, so I've always had that sense of drive. So just to keep going. So thankfully, I've never had anything major, happen to myself. But yeah, nothing prepares you for those situations, and they can be a blessing or a curse. So that's just really all I got to say on them. And I try not to think about moments like that or anything really like that. I try not to put that bad juju in the air, and just always keep a positive mindset. I think the mindset can be a lot of things. So as long as I constantly have a positive mindset with this, I think I'm going to be okay, so.
Okay. Fair enough. Another one of the questions from one of the people in the audience, one of the fans, they had asked, you guys mentioned, the traveling, can be a hassle at times. Traveling is obviously part of the job. So what are the top 5 things that you guys would absolutely have to have during travel?
Top 5 things.
Top 5.
Definitely an air compressor. Make sure you have money for gas, and make sure you eat and do everything that you're supposed to do to make sure that you're actually able to perform.
Yeah.
And there were times early on in my career, I was going to work, and I worked nights, overnights, like doing labor jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally go from work, go back home, get my gear, and go straight to the show. And I probably did not sleep the whole day until after the show. And,
Jeez.
And it wasn't the best thing for me at the time.
I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. I always have to have a charger, always got to have the charger on you. I don't care where I'm at. I'll be at an outdoor show, where like we're just kind of under a tent. I'm going to find an outlet somewhere or find something. I got to have my match recorded. So you got to have the charger. You got to have a camera of some sort, whether it's a phone, an actual camera, anything, you got to have that content. So those 2 things are essential. I always got to have at least 1 or 2 energy drinks. So an energy drink is always there, and something to eat for after the match. I'm not really one to eat before the show or like before my match. I don't ever want to throw up while I'm out there performing. So I always got to have something to eat either on the ride home or right after a match, like a quick snack or something. And then usually my laptop, I like to have my laptop. A lot of times if I'm not driving, I like to just try not to focus and get myself worked up or overly anxious about what's going to happen and what my body's going to go through. So I like to just listen to some music. Or I'll watch some like podcasts or something on YouTube or just do something, so a laptop is pretty essential as well. So those are my 5 right there,
Okay, fair enough.
I never go anywhere without my sketch pad.
Sketch pad. Yeah. Why is that? Oh yeah, that's right. You're always pumping out new ideas.
Speaking of which, I was just entered into the Supreme Sneakerhead contest, and right now,
congratulations.
That's what's up.
Right now, the voting doesn't open till October 23rd, and I'm really just trying to design a pair for more than just the average everyday sneakerhead.
hell yeah, that's that type of mindset is what's going to push you to that other edge. That's what's going to push you to the limit right there.
That's pretty
Facts.
cool.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's dope.
Be looking
Hey,
for those
thanks, bro.
sneakers for sure.
Yeah,
Just
because
make sure you give us all a free pair of sneakers if you win. All right.
Yeah.
I'm a 10.
Yeah.
All
was
right.
looking for
I
one to
want my
say that.
sneakers up in New York.
Size 10, Kenny. Size 10.
Right. Yeah. We got some
Size
10 footers
13.
over here.
hey, y'all lucky. I probably have the biggest feet in the chat right now.
Yeah.
What size you wear?
13.
13s.
That's like Shaq feet.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
for real.
Elephant toes.
Flippers.
nah. It's like that was actually the hardest part in the early stage of my career, like finding wrestling shoes that were comfortable because my feet are long. They're not wide.
Of course.
Mine are long and wide. That's my problem.
And that's why I said I can't actually be a
He's
big
looking at the
sneakerhead
same-
like every other person.
That's funny.
Jeez.
So we got a surprise question of the night. You guys ready?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
boy.
Let's do it.
Most underrated superstar.
Most
In
under
WWE or in all of
Or-
wrestling?
Any company you want to answer for.
AMB or Kenny 9. Like that's right. Those are the answers. That's what we should be saying.
honestly
Yeah.
in Impact, I gotta say the most underrated character right now would have to be Crazy Steve.
Crazy Steve.
Like
What a fucking name.
I don't know if anyone
Yeah, I
has
know,
been
right?
paying attention to what he's been doing as of late, but
Name.
for him to completely reinvent his character to the stage that it's at right now, I have to say it's pretty remarkable, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for him.
Now let me ask you a question. Does he come out to the Drake and Josh theme song?
Nah, he doesn't.
No? Okay. All right.
My answer would have to be Conan Lycan. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, he's a solid like friend of mine, I would say, in the wrestling business, you know. But besides that, dude, like he's 265 pounds and he moves like a cat. Like the things that he does is insane. And the amount of respect that he has just for wrestling and the amount of dedication that he has, the guy is everywhere that I look. Like every time I'm looking at flyers, he's on one, you know, and he's held championships in many companies. He's holding one right now at Chicago Style Wrestling here in CSW in Chicago. You know, he's got a group there. He everywhere he goes, he takes over, you know, and he just has that charismatic enigma about him that like he just turns heads whenever he comes through that curtain, you know, and he really is, you know, like what we like to call a draw. Like he has that it factor, and that's one guy on the independent scene right now that it just really blows my mind that he's not signed anywhere, you know. So definitely Conan Lycan is the guy that I got to choose. So the guy is a freak of nature.
You say you bring up Conan Lycan. That's interesting. So is he going to be kind of out of HAW for a while, or?
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. You know, like I said, I just like to show up and you know, introduce myself to everybody and just kind of enjoy the moment as it happens. You know, and I just enjoy it each day I'm at a show. I don't really try to ask any questions about anything. You know, I just try to show up and do what's expected of me. So.
Yeah, I also gotta give a lot of respect out to my brother Xavier Sky, and I also got a lot of respect for Moondog Greg Murray and Mateo Valentine. Like these guys are killing it right now.
Yes. Every last one of those names are doing fantastic right now. They're all good people,
So through you guys' training process, you know, to get you guys where you guys are, what would you guys say was like, I don't know, what would you say was the easiest part of your training and what was the absolute worst? Like, you pretty much fucking dreaded to do it, but you know it's part of the training.
I don't dread any part of my training because I'm a firm believer and I'm fully indoctrinated to this thing that nothing worth having comes easy.
True. Very true.
And I like when I first started, the first few days of my practice, they were like, okay, he's grasping on quick and so progressed so quick that 2 months and actually going to be 5 years to the day on Halloween, I had my first match. Now, first thing, rule of thumb, everyone says their first match, horrible, and mine was no different. I didn't even have a name yet, but I knew how to do moves. I knew how to listen, but the problem was I never knew how to sell. I was never taught at the time. So I kind of took that and I was like, I got to get better at this.
Absolutely. AMB.
I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat anything, dude. Cardio is brutal. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I would like to pride myself on having a lot in the gas tank, but dude, I mean, cardio. I wouldn't be, have the gas tank that I do without the training that I did. Like I was put through some vigorous cardio drills, when I started. So like that was pretty rough. That was tough. That was probably the toughest part. Just when you first start, and you don't even realize how much cardio you do need, when you first start for real. So I'm glad that I was put through all that, but man, it was brutal. I would say for me, what was probably I would say no, I mean none of it was easy. Don't get me wrong, but what was more easy for me was probably the more agile type of stuff, like the tumbling stuff, like learning how to do rolls and learning how to bump correctly and do all this stuff. Just because I played so many sports and like I when I was a kid, I had two older brothers. My oldest brother, like he put me through a coffee table when I was 4 years old. 'Cause
Nice.
we were wrestling in the house.
Nice.
When I was 7 years
Nice.
old, I got busted open the hard way by a gutter by my brother's friend. So like I wasn't like shy to any of taking the bumps or anything like that. Like I probably shouldn't have been doing them, but like to actually learn them and just to know how they protect themselves, like I think that kind of caught on very quickly with me just because like I'm very agile as it is, it's a trait that I can't pinpoint how I got the agility that I do, but somewhere down the line, I'm pretty light on my feet. So that stuff, in a sense, was pretty easy. And then once the cardio kicked in, like I realized the big difference, like in the progression with my lungs, it just made everything so much easier. So it clicked right away where I understood very quick, like, okay, these two go hand in hand with what we do. So that's probably like the number one thing that I do focus on now. Even though I don't like cardio, I have to make sure my cardio is somewhat good, so I take pride in that. So
For me personally, I don't look at it as hard, but I look at it as necessary. Like I ran cross country from 6th grade all the way through senior year of high school. So cardio was never a shortage for me. And then during the springtime, I would do track, and fall was also football. So I was already kind of built to take a lot of endurance. And I honestly couldn't count my lucky stars that on being able to do all the sports that I did because I wouldn't have escaped serious injuries so many times like I have at this point.
Damn.
Like when I showed the guys, like when I told the guys the last time I was on the show how I got dropped on my head, everyone's wondering, how is your neck not broken? Like even my chiropractor. And I told him, I guess I'm just lucky.
That's crazy.
Big baby.
Well, we move into that part of the show where we're going to give our shout outs. Last week in Wrestling Podcast, would you like to start?
Oh, okay. Alrighty. I guess I shout out everybody here because I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, everybody here hanging out with us this evening. Of course, AMB, Kenny Nye, and of course, Big Baby Ben, Troy, Judas, and his friend. Yeah, that's my shout outs for the evening.
My shout outs go to all of our special guests that joined us tonight. We really appreciate you guys coming on, as well as my fellow podcasters, Troy Black, Big Baby, doing our thing all the time, keeping this thing going, getting things lined up. I really appreciate y'all. I'm glad we could make this episode happen tonight for sure.
Yeah.
Kenny?
All right, shout out to AMB, still holding it down as the HAW champ. I hope we have that match later on down the line. Shout out to you guys for having me back on the show once again. And shout out to LLT. I love to be out there for your crowd every time I'm out there. And shout out True Privilege for actually bringing Kenny 9 to life.
AMB?
Yeah.
My shout outs, obviously, to all of you guys and your friend Judas, obviously, for sitting in. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's always a pleasure doing something like this with you guys. You guys are fun people. You guys ask good questions. You guys are passionate about wrestling. So it's always fun to come on. Also, shout out to Honor Among Wrestling. Shout out to Galley Lucha Libre. Shout out to Defiant Pro Wrestling, the hottest topic. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm wrestling for a handful of companies right now, but I'm very grateful and blessed just to be in the position that I'm in, to now be the Honor Among Wrestling champion, and to actually get another title shot coming up soon in November. So I might actually be a dual champion. Hopefully,
Nice.
I give my best effort and everything plays out. So, some big shows coming up. So I'm very grateful, and all my shout outs go out to you guys and to all the companies that are giving me the opportunity to just do what I love to do, man. So
if you become a double champion, can you do one thing for me, please?
What's that?
Actually defend them than Rachel Reigns over in the WWE does. This man is taking vacations after vacations and just showing up. He's like our one Christmas present, and we're gonna get him for like a Christmas match, and then that's it. He's gonna be gone till the summer again. So if you become a double champion, and I hope you do, then please at least once, not once a week. You don't have to go crazy, but once a month would be nice. You know what I mean? To get something out there, get you moving.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm all with the championship. I was a former United States champion at PWX here in Illinois.
Wow.
That's all I did. I took pride, just trying to defend that championship and give it as much history and lineage as much as possible. So I'm gonna do that with every opportunity that I get. I'm gonna do it with this one, and I'm gonna definitely do it with hopefully MCW Midwest Championship Wrestling. They got a show coming up, and it's a big tournament. So I'm hoping I can walk away with some more gold, but we'll find out.
So.
Yeah, I'm just very grateful for everything, man. And my shout outs go out to all the companies that I wrestle for. So very grateful for them.
My shout out goes to HAW, AMB, Kenny 9 coming back on. Thanks, man.
No problem.
It's been a great time talking with you guys over these last few months, and I hope it can continue. And a special shout out to Last Week in Wrestling Podcast. We started on audio together, and he was one of our first guests and still a guest now. So thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Good suggestion to us to bring it on the screen, because it's definitely been a lot a bigger enjoyment for us to be able to physically see who we're talking to.
Yeah, it's nice, right? You can see how disgusting I am as a wrestling fan. At least you don't got to smell me, which is nice. That's at least that's the nice perk of it all, for sure. But no, I mean, honestly, thank you guys. Seriously, I appreciate everybody here. AMB, Kenny, I would love to have either one of you or both of you on the pod at any time if you guys want. After the show, we can exchange information and try to get you on, for an interview, kind of continue to pick your brain a little bit about independent wrestling and stuff. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, or of course, all you three as well, and you guys are always welcome. The door always rotates, and whenever you guys want
Just
to.
let
But,
us
yeah,
know, man. You let us know when you're doing a live, or if you're doing a watch along. We're down to watch.
Every day. It's every day over here. We don't stop. There is no sleep over here. So I tell you, we're always doing something.
Yeah, you damn sure better invite us because this was our guy first. All right.
Yeah,
We
no.
found
Listen,
AMB
I am
all right?
just a guest. I am just a guest. But you know
And
what?
you can't take Kenny either.
Absolutely. Listen, you can keep both of them. If you don't want me to have any of them, that's fine. Keep both of them. They're cool from a distance. You know what I mean? And that's what they'll be. I guess. Nothing more, nothing less. But I actually, when you guys are talking about bumps and stuff like that, I am not a wrestler. I never wanted to be a wrestler. I commend you guys taking the crazy, absolute high risk maneuvers each and every time you guys step in the ring. So God bless your bodies, because you're going to be broken, more times over than anything. But when I was younger, I had a trampoline with a net, and my buddy and I would always play wrestle. We'd always wrestle as kids or whatever.
Yeah,
so I put him on the side of the trampoline. Now, mind you, there's the guard, the metal rail. So I told him that I was going to swanton dive over the net, and a part of me was going to hit him onto the grass because we didn't have a bat or anything. He moved, and I went chest first into the metal bar, and I thought I saw heaven. The wind was gone. I was just like that moment there, I was like, I think I'll just do content creation at this point because this is too painful. You know what I mean? So that's my one and only bump I've ever taken in my life. And, I still feel it to this day. Absolutely. It still hurts, but no, seriously, you guys are great. Big fans for sure now of you guys, now knowing who you guys are and everything. Everybody here at the Wrestle Bros to talk highly about the both of you. In all good spirits. So it's been nice to now finally get to meet you and see who you guys are, what you guys do, and pick your brain a little bit about the independent wrestling scene. And like I said, I'd love to have you guys on and get you guys on another watch along or anything like that. Or, just like I said, get you on a podcast interview, one-on-one, or if you guys both want to come on at the same time, it's whatever. I'm definitely down.
Of course, man. Likewise, pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
New York.
Yes.
Long way from the Midwest, but
big time.
No kidding.
Yes.
So
I just went to House of Glory, like I was telling you before, and we're trying to now work with Create a Pro and stuff in the future and whatnot. So we're trying to continuously expand and whatnot as a podcast. So we're very much growing each and every day, which is really cool. So, definitely having new people on and returning guests is always a plus to have on and to work with. So for sure, I would love to have the both of you on, like I said.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, of course. It's a pleasure, man. Showcase some of the
you.
Midwest wrestling scene out there on the East Coast,
Yeah, I want free tickets. All right. All for you. All right. Forget that kid that always hangs out with you, Kenny. You push him to the side. I'm taking his spot. And I'm going to be there. And I want those glasses when you take them off, all right? If that Kanye beat drops, I want to see you, all right? Forget everybody else.
For sure, man.
All right.
Would like to have some shout-outs?
You know what we want? We just want T-shirts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But,
man, I literally have been throwing my shirts out into the audience my last couple of matches.
Terrible. Forgets about us.
Man, you need to throw one of them T-shirts this way.
October 28th, AMB.
With the signature.
Yeah, I'm working on some merchandise, a lot of fans and family and, supporters just been.
I would also like a signed AMB shirt.
Yeah, of course. I'm working on it,
Throw this out there for AMB. Printful can be your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm using. That's what I'm using to create my merch.
Mm-hmm.
What is it you guys are using?
Printful.
Printful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
honestly, probably the best deals that I could probably get are from them, and the quality is pretty good.
Okay.
I actually just created another online store using Shopify with all my stuff being made by Printful. Right now I got hoodies up, I have T-shirts up, bomber jackets up
Oh, shit.
for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Mm.
And I was like, my wife made me promise no new gear until next year. So I can't
I
do
lied. It is live.
so I can't do the Breast Cancer Awareness Month gear this year, but I'm at least doing the merch.
All right. Like I said, we'll exchange information. Send me that stuff. I'll definitely
course,
I'll
sure.
definitely try to get myself some stuff and represent you as well on
sure.
the watch balls and stuff.
Well, unfortunately, we come to that time. I'm Big Baby Ben.
Judas Black.
Troy Black, baby.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on. And this has been another amazing episode of Wrestling with Bros. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.